Hey, what's up, everybody? Oh, shit. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Jack, your boy Jack. It's LC Podcast number 45. How's everybody doing? I'm doing really great. I'm joined today by my lovely friends. I got Jarrod, I got Matt, I got Grayden, and I got Evan. I don't think I've got Peter. I want to get him to talk, but he's not going to, apparently. But yeah, there we go. How's everyone doing today?
I'm doing good.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Excellent. Jared's been up for 7 hours already.
I had to get an
Sunday.
early start on the Sunday.
Yeah. You must be loving this new Sunday podcast schedule.
I am
Probably the
I,
whole, yeah.
I am so much more, and I was saying this the first day we did the Sunday morning podcast. I'm so much more energized because by the end of the day, I feel like a potato. Like I just don't want to do anything. I want to sit there and do nothing, and I feel good. I feel really good. It's also supposed to be 18 degrees Celsius today.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
it's
have
supposed to
my
be really
window
nice.
open right now. It's beautiful.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm looking
I'm
outside.
actually-
It's awesome.
After
Yeah.
the podcast today, I have to drive the rest of my family to like a drop-off point so they can do like a little hike because like you can't park at any of the parks, otherwise you'll get a ticket. So I'm literally dropping them off and then going to pick them up from a different place like an hour later, which means I can't join on the hike, which makes me really
So-
sad.
So you're like a drug mule, except you're dropping off your family.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm pretty. Isn't the reason you can't park is because you're not supposed to be going on the hikes?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
trying to. They're basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to keep like in case something happens, they're trying to lessen the burden on emergency services on things alternatively to COVID-19.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe I shouldn't have brought that up, on the internet.
Remember when you were giving Peter flack the other day because you thought he had friends over, and then now you're doing
Okay,
this?
okay, like there's a difference between me thinking he has people over in his tiny little apartment versus my family going and walking in the great outdoors where
There's a
it's really
difference
easier
between
to
breaking the
socially
rules
distance.
this way and breaking them this way.
It's fine
Well, no, the
when
rule-
my family breaks the rules.
The rule is just not to park in the parks, which is
Actually,
not what we're doing.
The rule
Actually, the rule
technically
is the
is
parks
to
are
not go.
closed.
Yeah, that is true. They did openly say it's like I think it's like a $4,500 fine if they catch you in the mountains right now.
Really?
Yeah.
What's
Hmm,
it?
can
All
nobody-
fines for
nobody
being
tell the
outside are
police?
now ridiculous.
Sorry, what was it, Matt?
Nobody like tell the police or anything?
I don't know. I'm Matt. I gotta
I'm
make sure.
hovering. I'm hovering
Yeah.
over this dial button.
I'm ready to pull this trigger right now. All right, well, how about we forget that I just said all of the things that I just said. Pretend that I just said like Pokemon, Sonic. How's everybody else doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, Feeling good. Got my cup of coffee that didn't take 12 years to make.
Oh, lucky you.
I know, yeah.
I
So, yeah,
legitimately
feeling pretty good.
didn't get up in time to make myself coffee before the podcast, and now I'm just sitting here with my water bottle. I had some mini wheats though.
I just
That's
reheated
good.
yesterday's coffee.
Oh, I'm gonna throw
That
up.
Did you use
sounds
the microwave?
gross. I microwaved it and I also like turned on the pot so it would heat it up a little bit and then it still wasn't warm enough so I
just-
I threw
I'm
it
just
in the
picturing
mic.
like Evan putting the entire coffee machine in the microwave.
The coffee machine's not heating up fast enough, so it needs to.
Kinda
It
make-
needs to
yeah.
heat up the machine, so it
We got
heats
to
up the cup of coffee.
jump-start the circuitry.
Wait, so would that work with tea then? So just hear me out, Grayden, before you rebuttal. Would it if I put the pot in the microwave and microwave the pot and then
Make
pour
sure
the tea?
make sure it's a
technically
ceramic pot.
Technically, the pot just kept the tea warm.
Yeah, your technicalities. Fuck off. Wrong.
Boys, I want to know what is the okay. We want to be thinking a lot about positives lately. There's a lot going on in the world, but like always, there's a lot to be happy about. So, what is the best part of each one of you guys' quarantine experience so far? What blessings have quarantine brought to you?
Oh man.
Nothing.
Well, I mean,
I
yeah.
cry every day.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Evan.
That's cool, man.
I can actually kind of answer this. It might be a bit of a long
Okay.
answer, but
Okay,
I'm.
feel free.
I mean, obviously, once I got back from Australia, I was in strict quarantine for 2 whole weeks. So I did that, and I managed to like be actually a little bit productive. You know, I was reading and making music, which I hadn't been doing enough of as of late, and I'm kind of sticking with those habits. So that feels really good. And then I wasn't really back on the work schedule until just this week, so I got to go out to BC and see my dad and my brother who are holed up at the cabin and hang out with them because obviously I hadn't seen them in 2 months at that point, so that was
Oh,
really
yeah.
nice. And I got back to work this week and just got to see all my good work friends because we are an essential service, which is not something I ever thought about my job when before this whole thing started happening. But yeah, there you go. We're an essential service, and I'm actually busier than ever. And
Yeah.
yesterday, one of my coworkers had a baby 5 weeks ago, so I got to meet his son yesterday,
Aw,
which I thought was
awesome.
really
exciting.
amazing. So yeah, there's some silver linings in all these
Yeah.
dark times, which is nice.
So Jack, you've been working like full time still then, hey?
It's not quite full time, just because there
It's-
was a guy
yeah.
who got hired on to kind of take over my spot while I was in Australia, and
Right.
he's a full-time restaurant worker, so he doesn't have any other jobs right now, and he's got kids that he's got to support. So we're kind of doing a swappy thing where I think I'll probably have more hours once May rolls around. This
see.
past week I worked pretty much full time. I got 40 hours in this past week, but in the future it's probably not going to be quite that much.
Right. Does it kind of sketch you out at all to be working, like kind of being in the public pretty much consistently with everything going on?
I mean, a little bit. I'm, sanitizing quite religiously. My biggest
Yeah.
issue is like, obviously the storefront is still open, so if anyone comes in with it, we don't have like all of the same precautions that other people are taking. We don't have like a big plexiglass thing
Yeah.
for the front counter or anything like that. It's basically just we're doing our best to sanitize and be safe about it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm still running a lot of deliveries out around the city because no restaurant business means I have to, we're selling a lot to people who are at home who are just like, I need wine and order it from us. So
Yeah.
that's been a crazy part of our business. It's picked up crazy. I don't know if you guys know this, but liquor sales in Alberta are the highest in the country right now. Every country has gone up some, but Alberta, the liquor sales have gone up something like 24%, I think,
Well,
which is
Jesus.
crazy.
I mean, in times of it's funny with alcohol because it's like when things are going good, alcohol sells. When things are
Yes.
going bad, alcohol sells more.
Yeah. I don't. It's just, I guess, the way things are.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But yeah,
did a
how's everyone
big-
else's? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go
I did
ahead.
a big no worries. I did a big supply run on Saturday where so I got put on furlough for work, which has been unfortunate, and school is now finished for me. So I have pretty much no reason to go into the city at all, and so I constantly have this kind of sketched out feeling when I am in public, and so I made a trip into the city where I bought a whole bunch of supplies and basically just set myself up to just never go into the city again, ever. And and yeah, so that included visits to I went to Best Buy and got a bunch of tech to set up my pro gamer setup. I went to liquor store and that was kind of a freaking gong show. I went to Safeway and dude, people are so hostile in Safeway or just in grocery stores in general because most stores have arrows on the floor and you're supposed to go
Yeah.
in you're supposed to go in a certain order to just try to avoid contact with people. And then the first aisle I go to, there's some dipshit lady freaking literally just slow walking the other direction and there's just a line of people all watching her freaking let's go.
Excuse me.
Let's move it along. And if you take any amount of time, bless you, Evan. If you take
Thank
any
you.
amount of time, pulling things off the shelf, or you're staying in the same place for long, people will start queuing up behind you because they don't want to go past you, just staring at you the whole time. And you're like, you can go.
Which
Please.
which Safeway did you go to?
Yeah,
I've been,
you're
going-
I've been shopping weekly because I go buy a week's worth of food and then I come back and whatever. And I have yet to have an experience where I feel like someone is either angry with me or waiting impatiently. Like there's almost never waiting lines at the stores that I went
Yeah,
to.
the
Hmm.
Safeway
You're a
I'm
big
going
scary
to
man.
is super empty. It's all the time, so it's no big deal
Interesting.
for me.
Yeah, no, I mean mine's the one in just the West Hills one, and I guess that's a relatively like busy one because like while
Yeah.
I was there, like people were freaking piling in there, which was kind of contributing to my anxiety a little bit.
Oh no, every time I leave the house, I'm hypersensitive of anything
Yeah,
with my body. I'm like walking down and I'm like, oh my god, my throat is slightly sore right now. Oh no,
Yeah.
maybe it's because I've been talking a lot today, or maybe it's because I'm dying.
That's like that fight or flight response in humans though. It's like if you can think about it, you can create basically create a sensation in your body. It's just how powerful your mind is.
Yeah.
That's so interesting because when I did that trip on Saturday, it was like literally the moment I was like in the car and in the highway and past where I would normally drive on a regular day, my throat started to get like a tickle, or like you know how you get that feeling in like the ceiling of your mouth where it like connects to your nose and it's a bit like kind of stingy, like you've been talking too much. Like I immediately got that sensation. I'm like, something ain't right here. There's no way I picked up the Rona by driving from home to the middle of the highway.
No, it happens a lot when you are in areas of quarantine, regardless of what it is. It's like if you ever had something and you look up it, like if you're worried about it and you look it up on Dr. Google,
Mm.
and
Dr. Google, my
Dr.
only
Google
source of health.
gives you a bunch of symptoms of obviously the worst possible case scenario for whatever you're looking up.
Mm.
You'll immediately start feeling those, like well, not immediately, but you'll start feeling certain sensations if you're really anxious about it. Like as soon as the
Yeah.
anxiety comes into play and you start thinking about it, your brain will just manifest those sensations because you are hypersensitive to those specific areas.
Yeah, yeah. Which is just such a weird like mechanic of the body, you know?
It's
Yeah.
just a survival thing. It's how your body keeps itself aware of what's going on. Because unless you're thinking about a specific thing, your body has so much sensation to take in at a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Anybody
does
else
anybody
have good
any...
things?
Yeah.
Good things to
Well,
talk about?
Yeah, you go first, Evan. I'll go after.
I mean, I don't have any particular story. It's just been something to discover, learning how I mean, me and Courtney live together, so we've been spending a lot of time together, and so far things have gone pretty good. Well, we built a blanket fort last night, so we were chilling in that, and yeah, no, I think it's just nice to see that like we can like our relationship is good, and that like we can spend this much time together and still be like perfectly fine with each other, as if we weren't
That's-
spending an ungodly amount of time with each other.
Yeah, that's good.
That's sweet.
Because we're both
I
working
thought,
from
like-
home as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've annoyed her a couple times because I can't because I'll drink too much coffee in the day, and then in the afternoon while I'm working, I'll like have, because I'm so dehydrated and now I'm chugging a bunch of water, I like breathe really heavily. So I'm just like, and she's like, "Shut up."
I know
Yeah, I
you
mean,
let off with
yeah.
good things, but I like as soon as you said I've been spending a lot of time with Courtney, and my brain immediately went to, and we're pissing each other off. That's not
No.
good.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh boy.
What? Where my brain went was, Courtney and I are doing great, but our roommate hates us right now.
Oh yeah.
We're spending so much time together. I would hate that, being like stuck with a couple like in the house.
Oh. Yeah.
Like
Oh,
being,
yeah.
being
That's a good point.
single and being quarantined with a couple.
Ugh.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
suck. Kelsey's actually not here though, so she's
Oh.
at home. Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
quarantining.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That's probably
You probably had the
honestly, I
same
feel like
thought.
that's better.
No, we
'cause
all talked about it and stuff like that, about like what's best for all of our mental health and stuff. And she was like, "Yeah, no, it's best if I'm just at home with my animals and everything in this time. Like it's pretty messed up." So
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's smart.
it makes sense. And
Yeah, I
appreciate that.
I've been talking to her a lot the past few days, and it sounds like she has been getting called off work frequently as well. And so, even though she works in the city, which is the reason why she lives in an apartment with you guys, anyways, like it's probably worth the drive for her to be able to be with her family and her animals and stuff. So,
yeah,
yeah, it's just I don't know, like for people like me who have lost all reason to go into public anyways. Like, it's easy for me to conceive just being in quarantine and staying at home. But I just wonder how much it complicates things for like Jack, who still is working in an essential service, and people that still have to just kind of go in and work on a regular basis. Like, I feel that it must just cause a lot of anxiety.
I mean,
It
I do
depends.
worry
I
about
guess.
it, but
Yeah.
I mean, other people worry about me so much more. And I mean, yeah, obviously I could catch this thing, but I feel fairly confident in my body's ability to fight it off. My big concern is
Yeah.
if I pass it to other people. You know?
Yeah, that's my major
That's-
concern.
So
Um,
a lot of the thing too you got to look at, Matt, is regardless of how regardless that yes there is a risk no matter where you go right now, except for like I mean even in your own house there's a risk if other people are going out, but the odds. And obviously this is not a thing for people to be like, oh yeah, I can just go outside because it's a very small percentage. It's a ungodly small percentage that you will come into contact with someone right now who has it in Alberta, well, in Canada, period. Like the numbers are not high compared to population. So
Yeah.
it's like as much as yes, you know, you gotta still be careful. You gotta make sure because again, like Jack said, it's not so much that the younger population have to necessarily worry about it unless your body has some genetically predisposed weakness to whatever a COVID virus to basically the mechanism a COVID virus attacks.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like you got to make sure you're not passing it because the more people that get it, the higher percentage of mutation a virus has. So that's why they were talking about people like, we'll use the spring break as an example, where it's like you have a bunch of young people who just were like, wow, we're young, it doesn't matter if we get it, whatever. But the issue is if it mutates in a stronger immune system, the virus ultimately just gets stronger.
Yeah,
When
and then
you
can't
see- I
it
mean,
recirculate through the population because it's now a slightly different virus?
Yeah.
Oh.
But it's like, but at the
Yeah.
same time, again, unless you have a health issue already, or you're genetically predisposed weakness to a
Yeah.
COVID virus which it attacks, you will most likely be fine. But at the same time, again, you just don't want to give it more room to mutate because if it mutates to a certain lethal standard, then it doesn't matter how good your immune system is if it can't keep
Yeah.
up with it, because it takes a certain amount of days for your body to build the antibodies for that virus. That's why people usually have that like turning point where it's like they feel the worst, and then all of a sudden the next day, you know, you feel pretty good, and then you start feeling better and better and better. Is because it
Right.
takes that much time for your body to make those antibodies.
Yeah.
Just for numbers' sake, we're sitting at 34,386 cases in Canada.
Yep.
Just fairly. This is actually that's really good, actually.
Yeah,
compared to what it
considering
could be at
in
this
Calgary
point.
alone we have over 1 million people, right? So
Yeah.
it's like you're again, they're doing good. They probably could have closed down things quicker, and we would have mitigated a lot more. But again, they weren't this kind of showed that where the flaws were in the communication, and the fact that people were fighting with each other between countries didn't help either.
And also,
But
if they shut
anyways.
it down much earlier, it would have been stuck in Australia.
Well, I think they would make exceptions for people that
Yeah,
are
no,
Canadian
the border
citizens.
still allows all Canadian
Oh,
citizens
no,
to come into
absolutely.
the country.
But there's a lot of talk of like Australia just like going into complete lockdown, like nothing.
No one
being,
in,
like,
no one out. Yeah.
Yeah, my friend
Pretty
Kelsey
much,
was
yeah.
my friend Kelsey was talking about that.
Yeah.
They were saying because she was over in Brisbane or she lives in Brisbane, and they were saying that they had quite a few talks like that.
Yeah.
How
But
do we
yeah.
start talking about scary COVID stuff?
All right,
when we're,
good
we're
stuff.
supposed
We
to
keep
be
trying to
talking
talk
good
about good
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, it gets
stuff.
hard not for the conversation to go in that direction one way or another. Here's an
I blame
interesting
Matt.
thing to bring up. Yeah, my bad. It's yeah, I don't know. It's a tough thing to grapple with. Like, I feel really fortunate that I'm able to just stay at home like this, and like I like usually when I have these conversations with Jerry, he always kind of tries to reassure me by saying like, you know, you're going to be fine if you get the virus, which I appreciate. But I think one of my big fears is just kind of getting the virus in the first place. You know, like I just would really like to live in a way that makes that like not happen to me. You know?
Stay
Yeah,
home,
no,
don't
you're
go on
doing
hikes.
you're doing doing the hero's work right now. You're staying home, you're staying
Yeah.
away from people. Sure, you're dropping
Yeah.
off people in the woods, but you know what? We can't be perfect.
sure, you're
Yeah.
breaking the fucking law, but we can't make any concessions for that. But we'll just
Yeah.
forget that I said that.
Hey, I'm gonna go for a drive about today with Court, which is technically
Yeah.
not allowed. So,
Is it really? Is it really not allowed?
well,
to
they
just,
don't
like-
want you driving anywhere you're not supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm
Actually,
gonna go
I did-
out, and cough on some doorknobs.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Dude,
Cough on
fucking-
some
I'm gonna go out
Amazon
and lick
packages.
some fucking toilet seats.
I'm so tired. Like, well, let's okay. We're on that topic now. Who heard about the fucking COVID challenge?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
I
we
don't
all
know-
just
I don't
saw
think-
that one lady, dumbass lady on the airplane,
Yeah, the
lick
girl
the
who was-
toilet. She's probably
well,
dead.
that was
No,
no,
but-
that was,
but
that,
it's
that
like-
was actually
it's like-
fake.
It's like that's
How is that
natural.
fake?
COVID challenge is natural selection and working.
She did. It was a private jet, so I mean, I guess it was real, but it's like,
I
as
see.
disgusting.
So she,
that
so
that
she,
same
that
girl,
person is high society then. Great. Love
Yeah.
it.
yeah, that same girl was on Dr. Phil, and Dr. Phil absolutely just destroyed her from home, and it was so fun to watch.
Oh, he's in hot water too with what's his face, Dr. Oz.
Dr. Oz,
The doctor couple. The non-doctor doctors.
My
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
dude, I really wish you hadn't brought that up. There's nothing in this world that makes me go from 0 to irate faster than the mention of Dr. Oz, the fucking fraud. Dude, TV
I mean,
doctors are what are gonna ruin the fucking world right now. I swear to God.
Oh man, you know what I heard about? This is like terrible, but oh fuck, who was it? There's some church group in the States that are telling everyone to donate their like government survival check. Essentially, I forget what it's called in the States. But it's like we haven't gotten a donation in over a month. And it's this, and it's like the head of the church who's like super wealthy. He's like, I'm donating my check. And he's like, great, sweet.
Yeah.
The check that you don't qualify for because you're a billionaire.
Yeah. But it was
Ugh.
like that is absolute villainy in my eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, no, there was
Yeah.
another company that got in hot water because they sent out like an app notification to people who have the application, and it was just like, use your government check on our store. We're going 80% off.
Ugh.
Yeah. I don't know, it's weird because like I feel like a situation like this really shows who like the worst people are, but what's also interesting about a situation like this is that it shows how quickly people are jumping to expose the worst people to kind of be able to go online and be like, I can't believe what these people are doing. Like I found a tweet that I want to read to you guys because it's equal parts hilarious and unsettling. Some of my dipshit neighbors threw a party on the roof of the parking garage. No social distancing, no masks, just a bunch of assholes acting like they're in a Bud Light commercial. Guys, don't do this. It's only going to prolong this fucking nightmare.
Well, and that's the thing right there, right? Like people are complaining about the social distancing. It's like the less people
Yeah.
do it, the longer they're gonna have to try to enforce it.
Yeah, yeah. And like what's like this kind of increasing political kind of commentary in the States is about like how like people like Trump was talking about reopening the country constantly and now it's become this kind of big I want to say right versus left, but I feel like that's not necessarily true, but like just this big debate of like people being like, yeah, let's open up the country, support the economy because money's more important than people's lives. And
Yeah,
then,
there's
you know,
definitely
the
two
sensible
schools of
people.
thought right now
Yeah.
with the whole
Yeah.
COVID thing. Give it to everyone and let's get the economy going, or let's just hold on.
If you give it to
Hang on.
everyone, the world is going to meet one hell of
Yeah.
a super virus. That is the and that I always laugh at that. I always like it's like the people talking. They go along with the give it to everyone thing because you build up your own immunity, and it's like it's true. But then if it was the case that it was the end all be all, the influenza virus wouldn't have as many mutations as it has, right? Because like originally the influenza virus did this way back in the day where it just fucked people. I mean back then you couldn't really it was things were isolated because lack of transportation. But like it's just it as being in the health industry and understanding how that like viruses work in that aspect really infuriates me when I hear people who like anti-vaccinations. I'm in the health industry, but I am a part of it. I'm not the whole thing.
Sorry.
And I don't know, it just infuriates me when I hear about anti-vaxxers or people who are like, oh, this is false or this is fake or whatever. It's so infuriating.
Yeah.
The by the way, I just looked it up. I sent it to you guys. It's called the stimulus challenge. But in lighter news, or I guess in lighter news, in different news, because COVID is I'm getting tired of it. I was just reading the other day that Call of Duty Warzone console players are turning off crossplay because I guess there's a shitload of PC cheaters now.
Hmm.
mean?
Did they?
They're
I
cheating
thought
on
that,
their
like,
PCs.
aimbot?
How?
with everything.
Mm.
Yeah, bots shooting through walls, seeing through walls. As of this article that was posted yesterday, Infinity Ward had banned 70,000 people.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Oof.
Oh yeah, Call of Duty Warzone hacking is so bad, console players are turning off PC crossplay. I'll leave it to the PC cheaters to ruin it for everybody.
I know, right?
That's like with
Yeah.
the Minecraft realm, the one kid with the who's playing on PC and then has like a client so they can just bypass everything in the realm. It's
Yeah.
like, come on, boys. Like
And like that in that
Yeah.
one stream we were like going nuts over these people that were coming in and just griefing super hard. We were banning people left, right, and center. And then we have some kid who's like cool and we're chatting to for a while, and I'm watching him walk through the world, and all of a sudden I realize he's turning water into ice instantly, and then he just blasts the hole in the side of a wall and just runs through it. And I'm like, cheater!
Uh,
Believe it or not, Matt, the ice was actually not the client.
yeah,
there
he
is
had
an-
some
there
like
is an
ice
enchantment.
boots.
Yeah, there is an enchantment that allows you to have ice boots. I did look it up
Oh.
after being told that that's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you could like walk across water like JC himself.
Now he probably used his client to get the ice boots, but that's besides
Yeah.
that's another thing
Yeah.
altogether.
Yeah, we also had a slice of meat that was enchanted with like massive attack power.
It was 50,000 attack power.
Jesus.
Christ.
Well, Drew would
Like
probably
Peter-
make something like that.
Peter was like, because Peter and me were fighting, and I was winning the fights, and then the guy gave him the piece of meat, and Peter's like, "Come here," and he one hit me in diamond armor that was enchanted with a whole bunch of things.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember Shuckle getting angry because there was like a piece of meat that had sharpness 5 or something like that, and like getting angry at Peter. It's like Peter's like, I can't enchant this thing. This isn't my doing.
I'm just trying to run a stream here.
Yeah.
I am upset about this whole the whole PC cheater thing on Warzone because I love Warzone. I've been
I
like
really
playing
love
it
Warzone.
consistently. I'm actually
Yeah.
like fairly decent at it, so like I
Yeah.
feel good when I play it. And like
Dude,
to know
it-
that there's just people using like aim bots and like freaking speed bots to just like wreak havoc on the game, that just it makes me sad. I'm sure
Yeah.
Infinity War, this isn't the first time they've dealt with this, and I'm sure they will deal with it fairly quickly.
The thing is, like, I see it all the time. Like when I went to PC, I immediately saw cheaters, especially when I went to like Siege, for example. Like when you're playing a game of Siege, every 5 seconds you see that BattleNet has banned someone or banned this
Yeah.
person or banned that person. It blows me away why people can't just play the game. Like it
Yeah.
literally benefits you zero to cheat in any of these games.
You
Yeah.
would actually have to see like the I don't know if juxtaposition's the right word to use in this case, but like Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Original. The amount of work that the developers need to put into banning people constantly is just absurd because we all played it. You all knew like nothing was out of the ordinary for that game. You know, maybe someone would get banned, maybe there'd be a cheater here or there. It was all good. We all had fun. Eric and I went back to play it. I mean, this was like 5 years ago, but like we went back to play it when obviously Infinity Ward was not monitoring the game anymore. And even on Xbox, we're playing this game, and there's links being posted in the chat constantly. It's just like a spam in the chat on like I didn't even know there was a freaking chat box within the games of Modern Warfare, and it was just like and like. Yeah, it was like chaotic. And it's like, okay, yeah, they're doing a lot of work daily to just stop this stuff because this is what happens when they're not here.
Yeah.
Wait, so can you clarify? Were the links like linking other people to hacking clients, or were the links how
No, it's
people
like
were able to
links,
hack the
people
game?
just promoting their shit or like like
Check out
bullshit
FaZe
links.
Clan.
I had to
Yeah,
deal
yeah.
with that yesterday in our Discord.
Oh yeah, I
There
saw that.
there's a guy that I ended up, and I chatted with him, and he just kept spamming links, so I banned him from it. But he was one of the guys that would join like the YouTube groups and just post subscribe to my channel.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he
Yeah.
kept doing it. Like I said to him, I even said to him, I brought him aside. I was like, hey, we have Mondays for promotion. You can promote it then. Um, but you can't just promote it. And he kept posting it, and then he posted when I messaged him separately. He kept posting it to me as well. So I was like, well, easy
Like,
decision.
yeah, like man, your control and V keys must be just destroyed, bro.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Discord is growing a shit ton though. We have over, I
Yeah.
think we're approaching 50 people, including us in the Discord. So it's gonna just get
yeah,
more and more chaotic like that.
Well, this is
yeah,
like
we're all
the
gonna
first
have to
time that
do more
we've.
moderating.
Oh yeah, sorry, Matt. Go for it.
No, it's okay. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say this is the first time where we've actually run into times where, we felt like we've been keeping up with or trying to keep up with it, not been like this because it kind of went from not super active to being relatively active, like especially
Yeah.
in the last couple
Mhm.
weeks.
Last week, really.
Yeah.
People have been joining like crazy, which
Yeah,
is good
these
to see.
Minecraft streams have been
Yeah.
nutty for us.
Mhm.
Our Minecraft
Somebody
streams
joined
are
at
doing
7:30 this morning.
Yeah, like it's crazy. Even our Minecraft streams are doing well after they've streamed. Like one of our Minecraft I think this Thursday's one, it got like 100 views and it's since gotten like another 30, 40 views since the stream occurred.
Hot dog.
So people going back and watching those things.
Well, I said to Grayden the other day, I was like, maybe we should get back into Fortnite and
No.
just start
God, no.
just start
God,
peeling
no.
people from Fortnite because it seems that
Yeah.
that's the games that are getting us our freaking views.
I would
Yeah.
rather take an axe to my PC and Xbox than play more Fortnite.
Weren't you the one that originally tried to, or was it who
I
tried to
think
originally get us?
Matt.
It was Matt who tried to get us into.
No, I
Fortnite
tried to
originally?
get. I was on that bandwagon too because it is a fun
Yeah.
game, but like
Yeah.
then it just got to the point where everyone's just so good at that game, and like
Yeah.
you don't even need to be good at the gunplay. You need to be good at building, and the building mechanic is freaking difficult to understand properly.
Yeah, and like so there was a summer where Eric and I played it a ton, and I was even like buying the battle pass and stuff, and it was really enjoyable. But the moment Apex came out and we started playing that instead, it's just like this is just so much more our speed. Like I've always said this about Fortnite. Like what's nice about playing other battle royales instead of playing Fortnite is when you play Fortnite and you shoot somebody, they transform instantly into a building.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, neat.
And that's
And
and
yeah,
that's perfectly great for like the Zoomers out there. Like that's their game. That's their shit. That's their
Yeah.
Halo
Yeah.
3. I'm perfectly fine with that. But like, it's nice to know that there's battle royales for us, the guys used to like just the traditional like
for
team
us
death
civilized
matches
men.
where it just feels yes, us civilized men.
Us
Where it's
cultured
just
men.
about the gunplay. It's not about building. It's not about anything else.
Yeah, and like Fortnite has made some leaps and bounds lately, but Fortnite's got its niche, Fortnite's got its community, as does the rest of the games,
You know what's funny
Yes.
when you talk about that? When you talk about like we being the ones that are like, oh, we like our battle royales where it's just us trying to kill people and just us trying to survive. This is like the equivalent of like when we started getting game consoles and we tried to teach our parents. It was like, oh, how do you move both sticks at once to go look in the direction but also move in that direction? This is the equivalent of us being like, how do you look in that direction and move in that direction? We can't build and shoot someone at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
actually we're just not
Very
good
true.
at those different abilities at the same time.
Yeah.
It hurts
Well, I mean,
my
I don't know.
joints.
There's so many choices of games, and especially so many choices of battle royales that if it doesn't appeal to you, there's just not necessary for you to really try. But like, I guess like
Yeah.
if you get really into Fortnite and you find that you're talented at stuff like building and like that's the meta game that you want to be playing in, then like more power to you, man. Because like there's some amazing Fortnite players out there. I subscribe to the YouTube channel for an esports team called NRG, and just because they have a Smash player that I really like, but they also are mainly into shooters and stuff. And like I watch highlights of their Fortnite players, and the stuff that those guys can do is just freaking nuts, man. Like just like the most clutch plays, like when the circle is literally just like a dime, and they're just like getting headshots and stuff too. It's just it's crazy how talented people can be at games like that, you know.
You
Well,
know,
it's just that-
on the topic.
Oh, go for it, Evan.
Sorry.
No, you go for it.
go. I'm gonna change it completely. You just respond to Matt.
Oh, I was just gonna say like it's just because a lot of the stuff I do in the lab with one of the doctors in UC is we do a lot with rehab through motor learning and using technology to do rehab through motor learning. It's amazing how it's like people always would talk about how athletes have this innate ability to, you know, have quick reaction times, have quick abilities to adapt to situations. And it's like the more we research stuff around technology and how you can help retrain the brain and teach reflexes and teach reaction time and stuff. It's amazing that it's like, as much as people are like kind of crap on gamers, I think that's becoming less of a thing now that it's becoming a bigger majority that people doing it. It's interesting to see how that tide's turning, where it's like people who play certain games, like certain games cause the brain to think a certain way. And it's amazing to see how people in shooters have such quick reaction times, like the people who are really, really good at shooters. It's really neat to see how those areas can be seen outside of just a sports setting, at least when we do our comparisons.
You heard it here first, folks. If you played Battle Tetris in high school, you're gonna live forever.
Nice. You know, on the topic of the whole battle royale thing, I do have to ask you all, you guys, because I've been pondering this. I know there was a phase there where like everyone and their dog was coming out with the battle royale.
Not the dog.
Did you come up? Did you think of the phrase "everyone and their dog" and start laughing at it?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Because it's a meme now. It's a meme in LC. But,
Everybody and their dog.
everybody,
Yeah.
I know, like everyone was getting frustrated because like all these developers were like, and you get a battle royale, and you get a battle royale, and you get a battle royale. But like I've been thinking about it, and I genuinely enjoy battle royales much more than the traditional like team death matches, search and destroys, and things like that. I like, and it just seems like the battle royale is the next logical step in like the gunplay multiplayer game in the gunplay multiplayer
Yeah.
games. So like, what do you guys think? Do you think it's like a step in the right direction? Do you think this is an evolution, and do you enjoy it more, or do you think this is just kind of like a I don't know, a phase that you hate and you can't wait till they kind of die off?
Well,
I think they're just going to
it's a
evolve
matter
from
of-
here.
I think
all
it's kind of
talk
a
at
matter
once.
of preference because, like, I had it, like, I don't know in Modern Warfare, I just have been playing Warzone, but they had it for like a weekend where you could just play random multiplayer game modes. And after exclusively playing Warzone, it was so refreshing to play a different game mode where, like, you know, you can't put all your chips on one life because that's all you get. Like, you can make a mistake and die and go back and keep playing. Like, I think they have
Yeah.
ways that they appeal. Like, I just love that we've gotten to this point where battle royales can exist, you know, because it's just such a cool concept, even from just the original one, like just the way that they've made battle royales work, the way that those gameplay mechanics have been kind of put together are just so cool. Like the fact that the circle is always forcing people to gradually go into one spot so that they keep fighting each other, and the fact that you can, you know, drop into this massive map, and like in Warzone you can drop into like a town area and know that it's just your team there and loot like whole buildings and stuff, and then all of a sudden, oh look, there's a team coming, let's get them and stuff like that. Like battle royales are so cool, but I don't think they're the natural evolution of online multiplayer shooters. I think they're just a mode of online multiplayer shooters.
I would agree to a degree, but at the same time, I think also on those lines, I think battle royales, like for example, we'll use Warzone because it's what we're mostly playing right now. Um, it allows people to play Call of Duty in a style they want to play. Whereas a lot of the game modes in Call of Duty force a certain play style. And different Call of Duties have different play styles to force. Like, we'll use Advanced Warfare, which I mean wasn't a super popular one, but I found even most of the new ones, with the exception of maybe this current one, because there's a lot of linear spaces to sit and snipe. For the most part, a lot of Call of Duties turn into a run and gun. If you were not good at the run and gun style of shooter, then you were not good at the Call of Duty that was currently being played.
Yeah.
Whereas like Warzone allows you to play your play style. Like, do you want to shoot range? Then go range. Like, yes, the circle does eventually push you together, but if they didn't have that, then you'd have games that would last like hours and hours after being done. But it's like you can do the run and gun style. You can go house to house and keep close combat, or you can go distance, or it's really up to the player to play their style, whereas most shooters I find force you to play a style. They don't give you that opportunity, and I think that's where battle royales have their community, is in that area.
Yeah. Also, I think that the battle royale style is kind of maybe not a natural progression, but a progression born out of necessity for style, because you think about it, the team deathmatch style, the search and destroy style, that's been around since the early 90s at least.
Capture
with,
the flag.
the beginning of
headquarters,
online co-op with Dooms and Doom clones and stuff like that were starting to come out then, and a lot of games kind of elaborated on that style, made it their own, like Halo Combat Evolved and Counter-Strike and stuff like that. But you didn't see a whole lot of change from that, for in the decades between battle royales becoming big, I don't think. And there were some that did it better than that. So I think a lot of people were probably just getting tired of the same old thing. I know I certainly was. And I don't really play battle royales either, but I think it's an evolution that was, necessity is kind of the mother of invention, as it were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I really like battle royales. I think I got bored of them there, but because they keep evolving, like you look at, I mean, if we say that Minecraft Hunger Games is like the OG battle royale for video game style, like let's just say it is. So that starts out, you have this smaller map out of necessity because you can't have the circle in that, right? So, and I believe some of those Minecraft Hunger Game matches, like especially by the popular YouTubers, those would go on for hours because they'd hide from each other and shit like that, right? So then you get to PUBG, where now it's a massive map, the circle encloses, but the biggest flaw of PUBG was that all you did was fucking run around because vehicles were few and far between. And if the circle was closing, all you could do was just run to the next circle. And it was sometimes you were running over half the map. And like you live, the circle didn't move fast enough. So they were really slow paced. And I just think with Fortnite was like a giant leap to what today's battle royales look like, because it's just like faster gameplay. They introduced a brand new mechanic, which is the building. They still had the circle, push everyone in. So I think that Fortnite allowed for other games like Apex, Warzone, and all the blackouts to exist. And like the whole idea that making a battle royale free is probably is the best selling point for those, because in my mind, the ones that I always got attracted to were the ones that were just like, here it is, it's released now and it's free. Apex did that pretty much, and so did Warzone. They both just dropped on a whim and were like, yeah, we're free, so come play us.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. It's just, I like how they've been evolving just in its own category, and I enjoy it so much more.
Yeah.
I just don't like dying so much. Like in regular team deathmatch, it's like kill 2 people, die. Kill 1 people, die. Kill 0 people, die. Where this, like, you die, and then it's like over, and you start all over. Like the cycle between deaths it's extended, and it feels like I'm actually playing the game.
Although, like, Warzone does it, like, in, like, the Gulag is what makes Warzone one of, if not the best
Unique
battle royales in my mind. Yeah, and unique as well, because it's just, like, it's just such an intuitive and cool mechanic. It's just so awesome to be like, all right, I'm dead. I get one more shot to try and bring this game back, and it's also just so cool because just having this one-on-one fight where you're in a symmetrical arena with the same weapons, like it's also a really cool test of like skill. I think in a way it builds off what makes gunfight such a cool mode in Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
But like narrows it to just one-on-one fights, and so it's just so satisfying to win a fight in the gulag because you just genuinely outplayed your opponent, or they had really bad lag and you got a
See,
headshot.
to me, the only improvements you could have on things like because the Gulag was made mostly for the initial part of the battle royale, because there's nothing more annoying than dropping and immediately getting killed. And I think it
Yeah.
did a really good way. The Gulag was a great solution to that issue, which was an issue in almost
Mhm.
any other battle royale I ever played. Was like
Yeah.
getting, because if you got through the initial, the worst part was getting when you were at the final area. The in between there was okay, if you died, whatever, at least you did whatever.
You
But it was
put up
the
a good fight, yeah.
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 But like the only thing I would change with the Gulag is like you talked about equal, like it's a challenge of skill, but it's really it is an aspect of luck too, because if you happen to be good with that gun and the other
Yeah.
person isn't, it doesn't really matter if your skill is equal. Your ability with that gun may not be equal, or your liking. So
Yeah.
the only way I could see a Gulag thing be or something like that being improved is if they had a selection of different types of guns and you got to choose the one that you liked, like the one that you would
Yeah.
prefer. And I don't think
I
that would
don't.
take very long to engage, because it's like you have a quick like 10 seconds to boom boom pick your gun, or quick 5 seconds pick your gun go. And I think
Picture
that would
this
that
as a
would create a
gulag. Picture this as a gulag. Once you have 4 people, you go into that Mario Party mini game where you have to cut the cords. And the last man standing gets to go back into the game.
Hate that game.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think I agree with that, Jerry. Just on the basis that, like, if you allow people the selection of guns for the gulag, that's how you allow a metagame to develop, and that's not usually ever a bad thing. It's just within the gulag. Like the idea is that you're completely bare bones and you have to fight your way out. But if you now have a selection of guns, there's always going to be a best gun out of them. Even if there's only 3, there's always going to be a gun that's the most optimal, even if it's just by an inch. And I would say it just makes it so that now it's a game of am I selecting the right gun and not am I better than my opponent.
well, you could that's also subjective. Because like
Yeah.
there's not necessarily going to be, to someone like for me, I get way more kills in a game with a submachine gun.
Yeah.
Whereas if you give me an assault rifle, it does not really matter what assault rifle is. It doesn't matter if the stats in that assault rifle are superior to an SMG I use. I will always do better with the SMGs just because that's my play style.
Right.
So
I don't
that's
think
why
I've ever
that's,
heard of a Call of Duty meta for guns.
and that's why I say, like, because otherwise the whole multiplayer would be a meta. Like you have meta within the meta, because
Yeah.
as soon as you have someone with an assault rifle in a multiplayer game, because it has better stats, then you're saying that you'd automatically have the people with the better stats would win.
I
Which
suppose
if
that
you
makes
put them,
sense.
if you had the same kick and everything else and all the difference in damage, then yes, you could probably see that. But because every gun has such varying stats to it, you'd probably see a better battle of skill than giving 2 people the same gun, because giving 2 people the same gun, again, the amount of times I've heard, like at least with Grayden and I playing Warzone, where we've gone to the gulag and we're like, ah, fuck, I can't believe I have this gun or whatever,
Yeah.
just because we just don't like using that gun, or we're not used to using that gun.
Yeah.
It just, to me, it's not necessarily a true battle of skill between the players. It's a battle of who is better at using that type of gun.
Yeah. I see
Or
your point.
can
I
or
see
can
where
wait
you're
for the
coming from.
grenades to come out, and then then it's just a Marty Dom
Yeah.
of the ass all over the place.
Yeah.
God Peter just said that there absolutely is a Call of Duty meta. So
Well,
Well, maybe you should come in here and discuss it.
I mean, every
Wait.
competitive game has a meta. That's just how it works. But yeah,
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, my like coming from my perspective on metagames, like playing a lot of competitive Pokemon, is it's like you're either bringing the most optimized, like the team that has just the best Pokemon, or you're trying to win off a gimmick and you're likely not to succeed because good metagame teams in Pokemon have the best coverage for any other type of team that someone's going to bring. And so I suppose I was applying that mindset. Like if you have a choice to pick the best thing, well, an on-meta decision would be to pick the best thing, you know?
yeah.
But
Well, that's-
then
that's
really
'cause- that's
subjective
'cause
on
to-
what the best thing in COD actually is, you know?
Well, and to me, it's like that's more so just because Call of Duty, or sorry, Pokemon, like you have definitely player strategies and being smart on when to use Pokemon and how to use them properly. But
Yeah.
the stats play a much larger role in Pokemon than they do
Yeah.
in Call of Duty when it comes to victory. I'd say personally,
Yeah.
from my
No,
experience.
you're right. You're right.
I mean, all a meta really is the combination that pro gamers use the most to win. That's all a meta ends up being. And then if someone figures out a better way to do it, that becomes the meta. It's just as simple as that. So they're never set in stone. They're always going to change as people get better at the game.
Mm-hmm. It's like a cool aspect of like competitive video games to me. I love like the existence of a meta game, or like the way that meta games are kind of structured.
Like there's definitely like probably meta plays in like football, in American football. Like there's probably plays that have high percentages of success, and a team will use that and that will become their meta for the season, like
Well, it's
until
like that's
another
why
team figures it out.
that's why people adopt systems, right? Because
Exactly.
certain systems have been shown to work
Counterplays.
Exactly. So I agree with Matt and Evan on this one. It's really interesting to see those metas evolve and see how when new metas get brought forward, it changes the dynamic of the game.
The idea, like I know, like we talked distastefully about the metas in Overwatch and everything, but like really a meta truly is another aspect of the professional game style, because like it really is like going back to the Gulag conversation. Sometimes it really shouldn't just be about skill versus skill. Strategy is a really important aspect in a lot of sports.
Yeah.
And I like seeing that it's an important aspect in esports as well, because it just makes it more competitive and it creates a higher threshold for professionals to be at, in order to perform.
Yeah, and I think there's just something so like exciting about seeing the way that skill or strategy or even mind games can be implemented in like a competitive game. I think it's just like such a cool status of like a game's viability in a competitive sense. I remember watching a really high level Rocket League game from that same team, NRG, and it was just this one play where like the guy like was blasting up to the ball, made it look like they were going right for it, so the opposite team member like went to get in the way and block it, and the guy braked right before he hit the ball. The guy went racing past, and the guy just boosted again and scored. It's like just little things like that are just so exciting to see.
Yeah, I've talked about it before, but a game that was really, really good for that kind of stuff, and is probably still quite good for it, is Hearthstone. Especially once you get to like high level play, so much of it is just, there's a ton of skill involved in knowing the game, but so much of it is mind games and understanding like your opponent's strategy and like understanding deck builds and stuff like that. It's very, very cool to see high level people play. That's why I could never get like too good at it, because it just requires so much time and money, and I was just like, I can't keep up with this. So it was a very cool game while I could play it, but it's cool because it's not like there's enormous set pieces or anything like that. You're just putting cards on a table, on a digital table, and they say a line and then kill each other. Like, it's not much to look at, but it was very hype a lot of the time watching competitive Hearthstone. I liked a lot.
Yeah. Well, a cool aspect of competitive turn-based games like Hearthstone and Pokemon that I like is like when you're choosing your move, kind of having to be like, what is my opponent? If I were my opponent, what would I be doing in this situation? And then what am I going to do to counteract that opponent's movements, right? Like just how much thought has to go into your moves when you're not even in like the active gameplay,
Yeah, I'm a big fan of turn-based games in that aspect. I find they create almost more suspense and more tension in the air, because it's like it's slowed it down enough so that it's like, obviously if you're really good at it, it goes quicker than just like the average person, but it's like it's still slowed down from like a real-time strategy game or something like that. But it's just so, I don't know, it's something about it. Like even I like to watch even games I don't play. Certain turn-based strategy games are just super interesting to see how they deal with those issues that they come faced with.
No match has been won in the first turn, but a lot of matches have been lost in the first turn. That's a
like
quote.
that.
That's a translated quote from The Art of Racing in the Rain.
What?
Beautiful movie.
Wasn't that a book first?
Yeah, I don't know, but the movie's great as well.
I saw
I've
other
never read
people
the
watching it on the plane ride home.
Makes you cray.
Good stuff. Yeah. I think we're getting close to our time, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
believe-
We have a little bit here. We have a tiny
Yeah.
bit. We're getting very close though. Yeah.
I think we got like 5 minutes.
5-ish minutes. Yeah.
Okay, quick topics. Who has shit that's not COVID or gaming or competitive related? Something new.
wait,
Something
Oh, well, I
exciting.
mean-
gaming.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say mine's kind of COVID, but it's like a kind of a bright side that's happening for me.
Okay, as long as it doesn't descend into a discussion about how much it sucks that there's an
No, no,
It's
no.
gonna
international
be that's
pandemic.
up to you,
That'll,
Matt.
yeah, I was about to say that depends on the other people involved.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I because I work in rehabilitation, I might have a job at the Children's Hospital now going forward, starting
Oh.
soon, because they need rehabilitation people for people who are recovering from COVID, and they want to and recovering obviously from other illnesses right now because the demand is so high on COVID. So it's really kind of impacting me benefit. Like I'm going to be more or less just behind the front line, but it's I don't know, it's a cool opportunity for me that I might have. Like it's not a guaranteed thing, but they were talking to me about it, and I'm very interested in it. It's a cool area to get involved in,
That's
especially
sweet.
since I'll be dealing with a lot more. Like at the clinic, I already deal with diseased populations, but it's going to be more of like recent disease populations or more more diversity of diseases that I'll be dealing with. So that's pretty neat thing to be thinking about.
That's awesome, man. When will you know if you are doing that position?
In the next few weeks, it really depends on how things go with COVID. But for the most part, they said most likely in the next 2 weeks they'll be doing a big recruiting for people in my field. So that's pretty cool.
That is pretty
Very
cool,
nice.
man.
Congrats.
Good for
Nice.
you.
Yeah,
Hopefully
that's
that
awesome.
works out for you.
Yeah.
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 That's going to be
Absolutely.
a really memorable experience for the rest of your life as well, knowing that you were working like in the health industry when this crazy international pandemic is happening.
You
Yeah,
and me,
it's,
Jared, between the two of our industries, we're going to save the world.
Oh, and I'm going to stay at home.
I guess
Anyone-
I told Grayden about this the other night. Nothing's set in stone yet, but just kind of seeing how everything's going right now, and maybe I've realized it's a good time to maybe invest in the future a little bit. So I've been thinking about I think I might buy a house, which is a little bit crazy. But yeah, I think now's not maybe a good time, a good time to buy.
Markets
So,
are looking
yeah.
real good.
Yeah. I mean everything's decreased in price for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Buyer's
Interesting.
market.
So
That's kind of exciting.
Bit of personal news that I'm thinking about.
That's
Obviously,
pretty
it's,
exciting.
it might not happen, but it's something that's on my mind.
Have you thought about it enough that you would kind of think about where that location would be?
Yeah, I've been looking kind of in and around like the Killarney and areas around Killarney, since that's close to work, close to Peter's house,
Yeah.
close to my dad's house, kind of close to everything I need it to be, while not being quite as far away from everything. So that would probably be my ideal area, sort of in and around there.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
awesome. Can't say I'm not a little bit envious, but that's just also really good for you.
Well, hey, who knows? I'll probably need roommates. I don't want to be a lonely asshole living on my own.
Yeah.
Old
I
man
bought a
Jack.
house so I could tell everyone to fuck off.
All we'll hear is once in a while we'll just hear Jack be like, you fucking jealous? I live on my own in my house and I sit on my porch and yell at them.
Well, all you have to do to hold anything like that over my head is, I have functioning internet. I can play.
Yeah.
I can play Warzone any time of the day.
But I could, but I choose not to.
Yeah.
That's how high and mighty he is.
Oh,
You
He
have
doesn't
a- you
even
have a-
take advantage of it.
You have a power that you do not even understand.
Jack's like taking 10-minute internet showers just to download things and then delete it. Just wasting bandwidth. Like
it's like, hey Jack, do you want to play this game? Oh, sorry, I'm downloading it. again.
Yeah.
Give me 2 minutes. I'll be ready to go.
Until tomorrow.
Yeah. There's
Oh,
delete it.
nothing. There's no statement that describes what it's like to have internet in a rural area better than like being geared up to play an online game with the boys, being in the party, getting ready to open the game, and being like, "Oh, I have to update."
Hey, it's okay,
Yeah.
Matt. I hear there's a new internet provider coming into your area by September 2020.
Yeah.
They're upgrading, but it's another almost like nobody brand that sounds like all they give you is shitty internet.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Oh, it's like
just been-
Evan just teed you up to knock you down. As soon
I
as
was
he
ready
fucking-
to be disappointed. There's literally no way that improving the internet in my area can end in good news. You know, there's just not like it's sad, but the way even though my internet is not functional in the gaming aspect and the fact that I can only play when no one else is using the internet, it's the best that I can access in this area, man, because there's just not the type of infrastructure to install modern, internet like the optic.
No,
It just
Yeah.
costs
I
too
got-
much.
I gotta tell you,
Yeah.
I don't understand how internet like service works like from country to country. Because when I was in Australia, we got our internet from a local company, I guess, because I guess like one of my roommates was explaining to me like, yeah, we just kind of got fed up with all the big telecom companies. So my cousin and some of his friends founded their own internet company here in Tanunda, and we get like 30 megabits per second and pay like $75 a month. I was like, what? How is that possible?
I think what happens there is like, remember how Ash had Tech Savvy for us?
Yeah.
So even though we were using some smaller brand company, they still use the infrastructure put in by like Shaw and TELUS. So I imagine, and then they just pretty much rent the lines.
I'm pretty
So I
sure
think that's
most
what was
companies.
happening.
I'm pretty sure most companies use the same lines. They just again, like you said, they basically use the lines that other companies have laid down, like Shaw or TELUS.
Yeah.
And I think even for the longest time, because TELUS was original, right? So I think for the longest time, even Shaw used TELUS lines until they got bigger. But for the most part, yeah, I think it's not like you go in there and it's like a labeling system and they're like, yes, this third party's wires here. You know how much I feel like there'd be so much sabotage going on. People
Oh,
like,
dude,
if I cut this wire, you'd be fucked.
Dude, do you know how actually insane the underground areas are, like in a city? Like that's why you're not supposed to dig at all when you live in the city, because there is freaking wires, pipes, gas lines. They're fucking everywhere.
Landmines that they
It's
threw in there?
disgusting. It's disgusting
Landmines.
how crazy it is.
The
Opened up
landmines are
a
actually
cave and some
underneath.
Zubats flew out.
Well, that's why they can't do what like people are always talking about, like why can't Calgary move its transit system underground? It's because do people understand the what is the word I'm looking
Application?
for?
The
immense-
Utility lines.
yeah, thank you, Jack. The immense amount of work that would need to work, plus how much you have to shut down like portions of the city just to do that.
It's
Like,
like,
yeah.
have you ever
The fact that our
tried digging
ground
a
is frozen?
Have you
Like
ever tried
most of the
digging
year?
when there's a tree nearby with a bunch of roots, and like every time you dig a little bit deeper, you hit another root, and you're like, "Fuck!" And then you try to like cut it out, and then you dig more, and then there's a rock, and then it's like, okay, that's like with man-made utilities. That's what it's like.
The new rock and roots in your neighborhood.
Yeah,
uh,
it's like digging
Alrighty,
down
boys.
in Minecraft and running into a bunch of lava.
Yeah, except maybe not that severe.
Yeah.
oh, for me, it's
Some
always,
of them-
it's always
I mean,
gravel. Gravel's
if you hit like a freaking 12-inch natural gas pipeline, it might not be pleasant for you.
It might
Yeah,
feel like
true.
taking a swim in lava anyways.
Yeah, a high pressure pipeline. No, that's
Yeah.
not gonna be.
Yeah,
fun.
good luck.
No kidding.
Alrighty, boys. Well, I think we could probably wrap it up there for today. So thanks for another great podcast, guys. Thanks for the viewers for watching today's episode. And let's I hope everyone stays healthy, stays happy. You know, it's important to take care of your mental health in these times too, so make sure you're doing everything you can to make the best of this time and situation, whatever that means, whatever that takes for you. So we've been Live Connection, Matt, Jarrod, Grayden, Evan. Yeah, that's everybody, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
feel
Oh God.
Yeah, you got
Reminder
it.
to follow the links below, to
That's my
subscribe,
name.
follow, join the Discord, anything you want to do to stay connected with Live Connection.
And if you want to
That's right.
support us, shoot us a donation. We have donation buttons on both our YouTube and Twitch.
Yeah, those are new.
You can use those stimulus packages.
No, don't do that.
Don't actually do that.
Please.
though.
Think about yourself
Please.
first.
Yeah.
Don't
Please
listen
send
to
food.
please
Yeah.
send me some stimulus because Matt just willed me out of existence by forgetting to mention the name.
Alrighty, take it easy, guys.
See ya.
Bye, everyone.